put me against Paddy.
You think Paddy's going to beat Justin Gaethje?
Easy.
That's a crazy thing to say because Justin Gaethje's a f***ing animal. He could be the next Conor McGregor star.
I want that world title. All laugh all you want and say I'll never be champ. You gang of mushrooms.
Like that kind of a star where the whole
He
world's
has
watching.
that weird personality.
Yes.
Yeah, he has that.
Well, he's very disarming because people, they see, I talked about this in the last pay-per-view. I said it's a very sneaky trick because guys like you look at you, the way you carry yourself, the way you, that's a fighter. Like you look at that guy's a dangerous motherfucker. But when you see Paddy, he's dancing like this, his hair is flopping around like he's in the Beatles. You know, he's like, he seems silly, but then he fucks people up.
Ilia or Paddy? I mean, the fight not happening. It's Justin or Paddy now. Paddy got to get past Justin. Justin's a tough fight, bro. I don't know. A lot of people sleeping on Justin on the Paddy fight, which just makes me ridiculous.
Damn, what could be next for Paddy? Ilia says he thinks Paddy kills Justin Gaethje. I don't think kill him, dude. Justin Gaethje is so fucking solid. But again, 5-round fight, 2, 3, 4 rounds into the match, and Paddy does score a takedown. Now he's got maybe Justin Gaethje on his back in half guard.
That's very plausible. Justin forgets he could wrestle.
He definitely trains it, but you could see why Ilia thinks that a little bit. Plus, Justin Gaethje's 36, Paddy Pimblett's 30 years old. But again, you can't count Justin Gaethje out. He could knock Paddy the fuck out.
I would lean towards Justin.
Scientists just proved your brain is literally being hijacked every time you open Instagram. And I'm not talking about some feel-good theory about digital wellness here. We're talking hard neuroscience, actual brain scans, measurable changes to your dopamine receptors, the exact same pathways that get destroyed by cocaine and gambling addiction. They took heavy social media users, put them in MRI machines, and what they found will absolutely shock you. These people's brains looked fundamentally different, not slightly different, completely rewired. The pleasure and reward centers that control everything from motivation to happiness were operating on a totally different level compared to people who barely used social platforms.
I think I'm going to knock him out, so people won't expect that. People think I'm just going to try and grapple and take him down when I'm not.
Here's what's absolutely wild about this study. The researchers didn't just find correlations, they found direct, undeniable proof that your brain chemistry changes based on how much time you spend scrolling. We're talking about participants whose neurochemical makeup was so altered that you could literally see it in the data. These weren't subtle shifts that required statisticians to interpret. These were massive, documented differences in how their brains functioned on a cellular level. And get this, the changes weren't just temporary. Even when participants tried to reduce their usage, their brains showed lasting modifications that persisted for weeks. The implications for digital wellness aren't just substantial, they're terrifying. This isn't about maybe spending less time on your phone anymore. This is about understanding that every swipe, every scroll, every notification is literally rewiring your neural pathways in ways we're only beginning to comprehend.
Last time you won that interim belt, you threw it on the ground in the cage, says it wasn't the priority for you. Do you have different feelings towards it this time and what it could mean at this point in your career?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that it wasn't the priority. It was that I knew Khabib was next. And if I was going to sit there and think that I was any kind of champion with that belt, with Khabib being next, I think I was, going to be foolish. I needed that mindset to prepare for that fight, and he beat me. And but ultimately, like I said, this gets us paid as a champion, and it definitely gives me the chance to fight Ilia. I want to fight Ilia. I want to play spoiler just like I did in Khabib and Tony. I'm going to f up for everybody, and there's going to be no Paddy and Ilia. I'm going to do the same thing I did for that fight, and then I'm going to fight Ilia on the White House card if he's ready to fight again. We'll see when he's ready again.
But here's where it gets even more concerning. The researchers are still trying to nail down whether social media actually causes these brain changes, or if there's something deeper going on. That's the million-dollar question that could change everything. Are we looking at direct causation, where platforms are actively damaging brains? Or is there some underlying factor that makes certain people more susceptible to both heavy social media use and these neurological changes? The answer could determine whether we're dealing with a public health crisis or something even more complex. Meanwhile, scientists are scrambling to develop intervention strategies, actual practical solutions to help people whose brains have been affected. Because once you understand the true scope of this problem, you realize we need science-backed approaches, not just willpower and good intentions.
Extra workout on Mondays, so now I have 3 workouts, and I really tear my body down so I can. And then Tuesday, I have sparring and sprints. Wednesday, similar to today, but it's only 2 workouts. And then Thursday and Friday, only one workout, but very high intense workouts. And so I think I'm going to be, I really knew for a fact that I was going to fight in the future. So I was, doing everything I could to be in the best shape of my life.
Now let me tell you about something completely different but equally explosive happening in the MMA world. Paddy Pimblett is causing absolute chaos throughout the entire mixed martial arts community right now, and it's all because of his bold declaration that he's going to knock out Justin Gaethje. But here's what makes this so crazy. This isn't your typical pre-fight trash talk or some desperate attempt to grab headlines. Pimblett is conveying this with complete, unwavering conviction, stating that the outcome will shock everyone watching. He's not portraying this as some hopeful projection or far-fetched dream. The Liverpool fighter is genuinely presenting himself as utterly certain of his ability to finish what many consider one of the most formidable strikers in the lightweight division. And honestly, the confidence is either inspiring or completely delusional, depending on how you look at it.
Everything he needs to do to stay active. Listen, man, this guy might just be the best lightweight in the world. Since Islam's gone, he's really good, man. He's big, he's strong, he's physical. The champion, Ilia Topuria, is tremendous. I think Ilia and Arman are the two best guys in the world. I think they need a fight at some point because I think Paddy Pimblett is awesome. Justin Gaethje is awesome. Arman and Ilia seem to have something. And not only something in terms of skill, but between the two that we could build a great fight around, right? So yeah, I think Arman's fantastic though, man. He's good. He looked great against Dan Hooker too.
Justin Gaethje sees this fight completely differently. He's embracing this incredible opportunity to compete for another interim belt at UFC 304, but he's not just viewing it as another title shot. For Gaethje, this represents a crucial stepping stone to something far more significant down the line. He sees this entire scenario as his chance to force a fourth title fight, this time against current champion Ilia Topuria. Gaethje is deliberately casting himself as the upset specialist who excels in exactly these kinds of high-pressure situations. He's willingly accepting his role as the experienced veteran who thrives when everyone expects him to lose. Much like he did when he shocked the world by defeating Tony Ferguson and later Donald Cerrone, Gaethje believes he has the tools and experience to handle whatever Pimblett brings to the octagon.
Pion said, "Number one, next to my name for a reason. The belt is just a formality at this point."
Here's what Gaethje had to say about his preparation, and his approach is fascinating. He's taking his UFC 304 preparation one day at a time, focusing entirely on daily improvement and relentlessly increasing his readiness. Gaethje states with absolute confidence that he'll be totally prepared to defeat Paddy Pimblett and secure his coveted title shot on what he calls the Manchester card. In his own words, he mentions it's just one day at a time for now. He's going to work his butt off, let the days accumulate, and be fully prepared and assured of his capacity to defeat Paddy and earn his title opportunity. The goal is crystal clear in his mind. What's interesting is how Gaethje has clearly stepped up his mental preparation for the Pimblett challenge, knowing that this fight represents potentially his last realistic shot at UFC gold.
A guy currently in the UFC or in the future of the UFC having 3 belts before it's all said and done, 3 different weight classes. Maybe it's a Khamzat Chimaev, maybe it's an Alex Pereira, maybe it's somebody else. Do you see it happening, Uriah?
I could say Ilia Topuria. That guy, I mean, with his skill set, he seems to have some crazy power that could translate to the higher weight classes because, you know, the only thing you're combating when you go up and down weight classes, I did the same thing. I was a world champion at 145 pounds, top contender for years at 135 pounds. You're just fighting different battles. It's you're a little bit faster when you're the smaller guy. You're a little bit stronger when you're the bigger guy. But it really comes down to technique, willpower, and the fighting spirit. And I think Ilia right now.
And speaking of title contenders, UFC legend Daniel Cormier has some pretty strong opinions about the current state of the lightweight division. Cormier is suggesting that with Islam Makhachev seemingly having moved on from the lightweight division, Arman Tsarukyan might actually be the best active fighter in the weight class right now. Cormier places Tsarukyan right alongside Ilia Topuria, emphasizing that these two fighters shine not just for their incredible skill sets, but for the sheer momentum and undeniable intrigue they've both brought to the division as a whole. From Cormier's expert perspective, a highly anticipated contest between Tsarukyan and Topuria holds unique significance for determining the division's future. It's the most logical fight to make, according to the former two-division champion, and it's the bout that would truly establish who deserves to be called the best lightweight on the planet.
Ilia, he would win that fight, you reckon?
I think there's a reason that Ilia doesn't really want to get in the octagon with him. I think Arman's a problem, and it's everyone in the division is kind of ducking him at the moment. You know, Ilia's taking some time off, and then the other two don't want to fight him. Paddy and Gagey, they both don't want to fight Arman, so now they're fighting each other. So he's kind of just left in the lurch. Maybe I'll get past BSD, and I think I'll be the only guy to put my hand up to run it back with Arman.
Arman Tsarukyan isn't exactly lacking confidence in this whole situation either. He sees himself as the UFC lightweight champion already, and this isn't just wishful thinking considering his current #1 ranking in the division. Tsarukyan pretty much considers the title a certainty, not simply some distant objective he's working toward. In his mind, the necessary work is complete, his position is undeniably secured, and all that's truly left is that formal moment when the championship officially gets placed around his waist. This level of confidence is either exactly what you want to see from a title contender, or it's setting him up for a massive reality check. But given his recent performances and the way he's systematically worked his way through the division's elite, there's definitely substance behind the swagger.
Directamente, toda la gente dice que tienes miedo de Arman y tengo que preguntar por eso.
Bueno, al final ya sabes lo que pienso sobre la opinión de los demás. Arman, bueno, es un buen luchador, ha tenido sus oportunidades en las que se ha negado a competir, ha tenido su oportunidad de pelear por el campeonato del mundo, se ha retirado del combate. Todos los luchadores hemos enfrentado dolores de espalda, dolores de brazo, de pierna, de todo, y aún así nos hemos presentado en el combate. Él por alguna razón no. Y él sabe cuál ha sido esa conversación interna. Tal vez se ha tenido que cambiar los calzones después de tomar esa decisión.
Now here's an interesting perspective that might surprise you. A prominent voice from the European MMA scene actually favors Ilia Topuria as more likely to become a rare three-division champion than even rising stars like Khamzat Chimaev or current light heavyweight champion Alex Pereira. The reasoning is fascinating. They cite Topuria's incredibly diverse skill set and observe that his exceptional knockout power could transfer well to heavier weight classes, potentially allowing him to dominate across multiple divisions in a way that few fighters in UFC history have managed. When you consider that only a handful of fighters have ever held titles in 3 different weight classes, this prediction carries serious weight. It suggests that Topuria's combination of technical skill, power, and fight IQ might be special enough to overcome the physical disadvantages of moving up in weight.
Tienes una persona enfrente a la que le estás dando cariño, en la que estás invirtiendo el dinero que realmente te está devolviendo las cosas de esa manera, al final tú le seguirías dando cariño.
No.
Bueno, pues eso es lo que están haciendo, lo que han dicho, se han sentado en una mesa y ¿sabes lo que han dicho? Que le den por el culo a Arman. Así que Arman, desde aquí que te den por el.
But not everyone is convinced about Topuria's readiness to face his biggest challenges. Dan Hooker has made some bold assertions about the current title picture, specifically claiming that Ilia Topuria shows minimal desire to actually fight Arman Tsarukyan. Hooker vividly describes Tsarukyan as one of the most difficult stylistic matchups in the entire division, and honestly believes that many top contenders actively avoid fighting him. From Hooker's perspective, Topuria's perceived reluctance to directly challenge Tsarukyan reveals clear hesitation, strongly suggesting that the Georgian champion recognizes Tsarukyan as an incredibly serious and genuinely dangerous threat to his title reign. This creates an interesting dynamic, where the champion might be more concerned about this challenger than he's willing to publicly admit.
Tsarukyan said, "You're talking about taking time off from fighting to fix your family issues, but it looks like you have plenty of free time for all these interviews. You're a joke, El Pan."
Of course, Ilia Topuria has his own response to these accusations, and it's exactly what you'd expect from a champion. Topuria completely dismisses suggestions that he's avoiding Arman Tsarukyan, responding with cool confidence and stating he's definitely not worried about facing anyone. He openly questions Tsarukyan's reliability as an opponent, subtly implying that true competitors offer no excuses whatsoever when confronted by challenges. Topuria labels all the critics' comments as pure noise, framing this entire situation as more a test of mental fortitude rather than simply a measure of fighting ability. In his mind, he's already proven himself as champion, and anyone questioning his willingness to fight is just creating drama for attention. The Georgian's dismissive attitude suggests he's genuinely confident in his ability to handle whatever Tsarukyan brings to the table.
Like he would have beaten Ilia Topuria had they fought for the actual undisputed title?
I mean, he's going to be a problem for Ilia for sure. I mean, his wrestling is legit. His grappling is legit. We really get to see how good Ilia is, on the ground in that space, because he's good, but Arman's elite, so.
But the tension between these two fighters escalated dramatically from there. Ilia Topuria actually attempted to mock Arman Tsarukyan publicly, completely eliminating any remaining semblance of respect between them. He portrayed their entire situation as going far beyond typical pre-fight trash talk, making it clear that his patience with Tsarukyan as both a competitor and a person had reached its limit. The sheer attitude he displayed confirmed that their simmering rivalry had become overtly and undeniably personal. What started as professional competition has transformed into something much more heated, with real animosity brewing between two of the division's elite fighters. This personal element could make their eventual fight even more explosive and unpredictable.
Now,
be honest.
That's the fight.
What you got?
I'm gonna be honest.
Be honest.
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't want to see him in Arman because Arman was one of us and stuff now. Because I feel like Topuria hands might be a problem. But everybody said that there's no problem for Arman. His Topuria's like striking and his wrestling and
he's confident. Yeah. He's confident. He's working hard. He's a hard worker. I seen him the way he works. He's tough.
I don't think anybody could touch Arman. And I'm not saying that because I glaze him because he's my friend. I think Arman is his cardio. I think his cardio is incredible. I think his wrestling's incredible. But I think Arman is a true mixed martial artist. People don't get to see this from him. He has so much power and technique from his kicking to his wrestling to his striking, but he's able to put them together so seamlessly.
Naturally, Arman Tsarukyan wasn't about to stand by and let those comments slide. Tsarukyan fired back at Ilia Topuria, pointing out what he sees as a clear contradiction between Topuria's public statements and his actual behavior. From Tsarukyan's sharp perspective, someone who claims they'll withdraw from fights due to personal issues shouldn't constantly appear in headlines talking trash and calling out opponents. He explicitly framed the entire situation as dishonesty rather than genuine rivalry, making it clear that he completely discredits Topuria's words and questions his credibility as a champion. Tsarukyan's response suggests he believes Topuria is all talk and no action, using media appearances to maintain relevance while avoiding the most dangerous fights available.
Well, how do you feel about that fight?
Against Topuria, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a tough one. It's a very tough one. For sure. Can Arman beat him? 100% again. Yeah, he can beat him.
That's for sure.
How? Mix up the striking with the wrestling.
Adding another expert layer to this potential clash, Luke Rockhold has weighed in with his analysis, and he firmly believes Arman Tsarukyan poses a genuinely significant challenge for Ilia Topuria. Rockhold specifically highlights Tsarukyan's elite-level grappling as the key factor, emphasizing his wrestling and ground game as undeniably superior to most fighters in the division. Rockhold positions this potential contest as an authentic test of Topuria's actual mat skills, despite recognizing that the champion has solid ground proficiency of his own. In Rockhold's estimation, Tsarukyan exists in another class when it comes to grappling, and his wrestling might create situations that expose gaps in Topuria's game that haven't been tested at the championship level. This analysis suggests that while Topuria has looked dominant so far, he hasn't faced anyone with Tsarukyan's specific skill set.
Hey, Ariel, you know me, I don't like Arman Tsarukyan that much, I don't have nothing against him, but to be honest, right now, he is the guy to fight for the belt. I think with the performance that he had, and if you watch his record on UFC, like he only lost to Ganra, and that was a very hard fight. There was a split decision, if I remember. Maybe I'm mistaken, but there was a close fight, and then he lost to Makhachev on his debut, like with very short notice. So the guy against Joel Alvarez, he did a very good job, and now he beat Charles. Was a split decision too, but after that one, I think he's the #1 contender. I think he should be fighting for the title next.
The expert opinions keep flowing in from different angles, Paige Van Zandt initially expressed some reservations about the potential matchup, identifying Topuria's striking competence as a significant challenge for Tsarukyan, yet she fully understood why fans desperately want to see this fight happen. But here's where it gets interesting. Fabricio Werdum is completely sold on Arman Tsarukyan's chances, praising his dedication, superior cardio, relentless wrestling, and that perfect blend of striking and grappling techniques. In Werdum's assessment, Tsarukyan represents a much more complete mixed martial artist than many widely regarded fighters in the division, making him significantly more competitive against Topuria than most people realize. This creates a fascinating divide among experts, with some favoring the champion's proven power and others believing the challenger's well-rounded skill set could be the key to victory.
Way over Gaethje, and I feel like Arman should be way over Paddy, you know, but he doesn't have that hiccup. So what does he do? Does he sit out? Or does he go out there and make his case? Get another one of these top 5 guys, Arman, I say, take their head off because there's nobody there that can beat him, and keep him moving, brother. Then they can't deny you. You know, I think he has to go out there, just beat somebody else, and not even Dana White can say, no, I'm not giving this guy a title shot. After that, there's no way, you know. And the fight to see in 2026 is Arman versus Ilia. Those are the best guys at 155 pounds right now. Let's see it.
The analysis continues from another respected voice in the sport. This expert describes a potential Tsarukyan versus Topuria contest as dangerous, but crucially very winnable for Tsarukyan. They see the essential key to victory as successfully combining both striking and grappling, portraying it as a battle where Tsarukyan possesses all the necessary tools to truly prevail. It's a fight where Tsarukyan's diverse skill set gives him distinct advantages in navigating any scenario that develops, whether the fight stays standing or goes to the ground. This perspective suggests that while Topuria might have the edge in pure striking, Tsarukyan's ability to mix different aspects of MMA could create problems the champion hasn't encountered before.
Вопрос отдыха не будет, так как я буду, можно сказать, запасным, но неофициально запасным на бой против Гейджи. Если кто-то из них травмируется, то я буду готов залететь за неделю, за 10 дней, за 5 дней. То есть я буду подводить свой вес, да, не буду гонять его в день взвешивания. Но если я им понадоблюсь, то я буду там. Из-за этого нужно мне держать форму, тренироваться, делать спарринги и постараться не травмировать себя в этих схватках. Но при этом же выложиться на 100%, чтобы люди обрадовались, пришли посмотреть за таким зрелищным схваткой. И отдохну после уже боя Пимблетта.
Renato Moicano brings another compelling perspective to the title picture, and his opinion carries serious weight. Moicano firmly believes Jorge Masvidal should absolutely get the next championship opportunity, even though he admits he's not personally a fan of Arman fighting style. What makes Tsarukyan endorsement so powerful is his reasoning. He points out that Masvidal's only significant setbacks were a controversial split decision loss against Tsarukyan Masvidal and a rushed debut against Islam Makhachev, where he stepped in on extremely short notice as a virtual unknown. Since then, Tsarukyan has produced consistently elite performances, including that incredibly close victory over former champion Charles Oliveira. Moicano argues that based on merit alone, Tsarukyan has truly earned his shot at the title, regardless of personal preferences about fighting styles.
Emocionantes para el público, y Justin dice, yo les voy a echar el plan a perder al UFC y voy a pelear con Ilia en la Casa Blanca. ¿Te gusta esa idea? Porque obviamente Justin es de los candidatos, porque es estadounidense, porque ha estado cercano al presidente Trump, etc.
La verdad que yo siempre acepto la voluntad de Dios, lo que Él quiera que pase para mí será bueno. Si gana Paddy, si gana Justin Gaethje, realmente si gana Justin Gaethje, la UFC tiene planes diferentes de las que no puedo hablar en este momento. Pero bueno, si me ofrecieran pelear con Justin Gaethje en la Casa Blanca, también sería un combate muy emocionante para mí. Sería algo que me ilusionaría muchísimo. No sé qué tan capaz va a ser de arruinar los planes de la UFC y los planes de Paddy Pimblett. Lo va a tener bastante difícil, no imposible, así que le deseo toda la suerte. Pero no sé si tendrá tanta suerte ganándole a Paddy Pimblett, porque después se va a tener que encerrar en un octógono conmigo y no sé si eso es tener mucha suerte, ¿no?
Even Jorge Masvidal has thrown his support behind Arman Tsarukyan, and his endorsement is particularly interesting. Masvidal claims Tsarukyan has been held back despite clearly belonging among the division's absolute elite. He describes Tsarukyan as a premier lightweight talent and urgently encourages him to continue pursuing fights against top-tier opponents to make his championship case completely undeniable. Matthews sees Gamrot as a pivotal figure for the division's future landscape, someone who could bring a different style and energy to the championship picture. This isn't just about a single title fight, according to Makhachev. It's about the entire trajectory and evolution of the lightweight division moving forward.
Paddy Pimblett en contra de Justin Gaethje, una pelea que tú incluso anticipaste que podría pasar, ¿no? Que tal vez para que Paddy mereciera la pelea de campeonato contigo, tenía que ganarle a Justin. ¿Cómo la ves? ¿Cómo te tomó la decisión de UFC?
Muy bien, muy contento. La verdad que yo tuve la conversación previamente antes con la UFC, sabía lo que estaba sucediendo, mantuvimos algunas conversaciones. Por mi situación personal sabían que yo no pudiera competir en enero, bueno, pues todas las cosas que engloba una situación personal por la que estoy pasando, y al final decidieron hacer el combate por el título interino entre Paddy Pimblett y Justin Gaethje. A mí me parece muy merecido para ambos, es un título bastante válido, bastante merecido, es lo más cerca que van a estar los dos de tener un campeonato del mundo. Le felicito a los dos, pero...
And here's how serious Arman Tsarukyan is about getting his championship opportunity. He has proactively made himself the official alternate for the upcoming Gaethje versus Pimblett fight. This means he's staying in peak physical condition and remaining completely ready to step in if any unforeseen problems arise for either fighter at any point before their highly anticipated interim title bout. It's a smart strategic move that demonstrates his professionalism and hunger for any opportunity to advance his position. By serving as the alternate, Tsarukyan ensures he'll be first in line if anything goes wrong, and it shows the UFC that he's reliable and always prepared when they need someone on short notice.
Paddy, only because Justin doesn't want another interim belt. I mean, like, that's just it. You could tell, like, as soon as, like, when we were fighting, like, I prepared for a different guy. Like, I'd be real. And it was like, I want to go in there and, like, just, that's not about me anyways. We'll talk about Gaethje and Paddy. Paddy's not bad, dude. Paddy's not bad. He's very beatable, and Gaethje's very beatable as well. But when it goes into the passion and how upsetting Justin Gaethje has always been about not getting that real title shot, and they just keep dangling it right there again.
Switching back to Ilia Topuria's perspective, the champion has his own theories about what's happening behind the scenes. Topuria believes the UFC might already have contingency plans in place for Justin Gaethje should he manage to defeat Paddy Pimblett, though he curiously shared no specific details about these potential plans. He openly wondered whether Gaethje could disrupt those carefully laid strategies, hinting at the possibility that an upset victory could throw the entire division's timeline into chaos. This suggests that, while the UFC might prefer certain outcomes for business reasons, the unpredictable nature of fighting means backup plans are always necessary. Topuria's comments imply he has inside knowledge about the promotion's preferences and future booking strategies.
Right? Paddy's the one that's never fought for a belt. He's going in there. He's going to be trying to, get that stuff. He's going to feel a little bit more fresher. He's going to have that little bit of excitedness, in my opinion. So if I was going to the book and I was going to try to place the bet, I mean, I would go with the new kid that's going in there and that's going in there for the new opportunity, rather than the old kid that fought for the belt, disrespected it, threw it on the fucking ground, and didn't give a shit for it. In my mentality, that's how he's going to be again. It's going to go for Paddy, in my opinion. So best of luck for both of them. I'll knock each other.
But here's a surprising display of sportsmanship from the champion. Gaethje actually agrees that both Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett have absolutely earned their interim title shot opportunity. He attributes the UFC's decision to create this interim bout to his own personal situation, which unfortunately prevented him from fighting in January and opened up this opportunity for other contenders. Topuria expresses genuine happiness for both fighters, considering their pairing entirely justified based on their recent performances and rankings. This level of respect for his potential opponents shows a mature side of the champion that contrasts sharply with some of his more heated exchanges with Tsarukyan. It demonstrates that while rivalries can get personal, Topuria still maintains respect for the sport and recognizes when fighters have earned their opportunities.
Versus Justin Gagey, it's gonna be interesting fight because we know Paddy Pimblett, he does know jiu-jitsu, grappling. If they go striking, I think Justin will beat him. But if they try more grappling, then Paddy got this, and who knows what they're gonna do, you know? Either what kind of fights they will show. And yeah, I don't know who will win. Both can win.
Now Tony Ferguson, a legend who knows everything about psychological warfare inside the octagon, offers a fascinating perspective on the Gietzsche versus Pimblett matchup. Ferguson believes Paddy Pimblett enters this contest with a significant psychological advantage, fueled by the burning desire of a fighter seeking his first truly major opportunity on the world stage. This hunger for breakthrough success can be incredibly powerful, driving fighters to perform beyond their normal capabilities when everything is on the line. Conversely, Ferguson points out that Justin Gietzsche carries the undeniable burden of previous title fight losses, and that psychological weight can be crushing for even the most experienced fighters. Ferguson sees this dynamic as potentially decisive, with Pimblett's fresh ambition possibly overcoming Gietzsche's superior experience and technical skills.
Yeah, they have no chance against Ilia. Either Paddy or Justin, you know. Ilia, very good champion. We know he hits hard, and also he's good wrestler, good jiu-jitsu.
Ferguson really doubles down on this psychological analysis, emphasizing how mental state could determine the fight's outcome. He observes that Pimblett represents a fighter hungry for his initial massive breakthrough, while Gietzsche bears the heavy mental load of prior championship defeats that can create doubt and hesitation in crucial moments. Ferguson firmly believes this motivational difference gives Pimblett a distinct edge and positions him to enter a completely new phase of his career with a victory. However, Ferguson acknowledges this will still be an incredibly tough fight despite Pimblett's mental advantages, showing respect for Gietzsche's proven durability and striking power. Another analyst has described this interim lightweight title clash as absolutely captivating because of how evenly matched the fighters are in different areas. They highlight that Gietzsche would undeniably have significant advantages if the fight remains standing, given his devastating leg kicks and boxing combinations. However, Pimblett might excel considerably if the fight shifts to grappling exchanges, where he can showcase his superior ground game and submission skills. Here's what makes this fight so unpredictable and exciting for fans.